My name is Promise AK and you're welcome to this channel. On this channel, we help young professionals navigate through data sciences, machine learning, artificial intelligence, or any other artificial or technological advancement that might come up later on in the future. If you're new here, you're so welcome. You're welcome to the family. Make yourself feel welcome by going through our previous videos so that you can get up to speed to where we are right now. To my returning subscribers, you know what it is. You guys are the real MVPs. This video is a continuation of the previous video where we talked about the different data types. We talked about integers, floats, strings, and bools. In case you've not seen that video, I would advise you pause this, go watch that and follow through so that you understand what we'll be talking about in this video. The next item we're going to talk about is lists. What are lists? Lists are used to store multiple items in a single variable. So before now we just specify, okay, x equals to a particular thing, but with lists you're going to store multiple items inside one container, and they are specified using the square brackets. Could use the square. So for example, if I define my variable, my list is equals to, I put a square bracket and put different items, and those items are separated using commas. I hope that makes sense. They are separated using commas. And if I print type my list, it shows you it's a list. So if you, for example, you already specified something, you could use your tab key to complete. So you don't need to spell everything out again. So if you just start spelling it or use your tab key, it helps you to complete it. So if I put my list, type my list, it shows me that it's a list. List can contain other data type inside the list, right? So you could, so in this my list, I just wrote out 1, 2, 4, just different items, and they are separated using commas. So just write out 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. So they are separated using commas within the bracket. And so when I print out type of my list, it shows you that it is a list. So how many data types have we covered? We've covered integers, we've covered floats, we've covered bools, and we've covered lists. So if this video is too fast for you, you could pause and go over it again. So I don't want it to be too long trying to spend time typing. So if it's too fast, feel free to pause, practice whatever I've said, and go over it again. Next thing we're going to talk about are tuples. What are tuples? Tuples are also used to store multiple items. They are created using the curved bracket. So you might remember, lists, they are created using square brackets, but for tuples they are created using your curved bracket. The difference between a list and a tuple is that they are immutable, so you cannot change it. For example, with lists, I can, after specifying my list, I could say my list dot append, like kind of change or delete things from there. But for tuple, you cannot really change anything. Once you've specified it, you've specified it. I'll go in other videos, I'm going to tell you the different things you can do with a list, the different actions you can complete with a tuple, and for these different actions you can do with these different data types. But now I'm just kind of explaining, just giving you definitions for the different terms. So you have my tuple. So I can specify my tuple equals to the same thing I have with the list. So I have my curved bracket 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and you see if I print the type my tuple, it shows me that it is a tuple or tuple, whatever you call it, tuple, yeah, tuple. And the next items are sets. We're going to talk about sets. So we've talked about integers, we've talked about floats, we've talked about strings, we've talked about bools, we've talked about lists. We've talked about tuples, and now we're going to talk about sets. Sets are also used to store multiple items. So now we have 3 different data types that can be used to store multiple items, right? We have, and sets are unordered or unindexed, and they are unchangeable. So the same thing with tuple, they are created using your curly bracket. So if you see this curly bracket, that's what they are created using. So you could specify any data type within it, like either being the string, bool, integer within its set. But in this case, let's just use James, John, Matthew, Luke. Yeah, so I can put out the type, my set. You see that it's a set. So what I mean by the unordered or unindexed is that, if, for example, if I type my list, So there's what we call indexing in Python. So the first item in a list or a tuple has an index of 0. The first item has an index of 0. The second item has an index of 1. So the third item has an index of 2. So, for example, if I print out my list, use this curved brackets, more like indexing. If I put 2, it returns 4. So if it goes back to my list and counts 1, 2, 3. So 4 is the third item on my list, and it has an index of 2. If I do the same thing for tuple, it returns the same thing. So, for example, I put in 7 now. It's outside my I can't use 7 because the items on my list is not up to 7 index, so that's why that returns an error. So my tuple 4, but if I do the same thing for my set, it returns an error saying that set object cannot be subscriptable. So it means that they are not ordered. So that's one of the things you should know. In each of these data types we've mentioned, you could use different type of data. It could be string, float, or integers inside the tuple. So you could also inside the set or inside the item. Then the next item we'll be talking about, the next data type would be dictionaries. Dictionaries are used to store multiple items, but the difference with this is using the key value. So you specify a key and specify the value. So they are ordered, they are changeable, so you can change your dictionaries. So for example, I already have something in my dictionary, I could go back and say, oh, change this to this. So I'll be talking, don't worry, in other videos I'll be going to show you all the different actions you can carry out with these different data types. The dictionaries does not allow duplicate items, so like duplicate keys, you can just have only one key in a dictionary. So you could specify using the curly bracket, same as set, but this you have to specify that, oh, you have your key and your value, and you use your column to separate your key and values, and use the comma to separate one item from another item. So for now, for my dictionary, I could say first name is promise. So you specify that my first name is the key, promise is the value. So it could be either integer or strings, it does not matter. So it depends on what you're trying to specify. You could say surname, aka, you could say country, Nigerian, or let's say nationality. Use your column to specify that it's Nigeria. Then when I specify my type, so type is just to show what kind of type of data do I have. It shows that it's dictionary. So you could also print out my dictionary, just my dic. It shows you everything that's inside the item. I do not intend for this video to be too long, so I'm going to end this video here and continue on the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. So I hope you are able to follow through. The best way to learn is to follow through. If you have any question, just please put them in the comment section. In my next video, we're going to continue from where we stopped.